Hi, I'm Siebrand Dijkstra, I'm the CEO of DJ.Studio, and in this episode of Fix the Mix I hope to demystify user beat markers and beat gridding. So I got this mix from a user and he says, I love DJ.Studio, but the beat gridding, it is difficult. I made my mix and then I made changes to the beat grid and then my transitions are not correct anymore, and I make other changes and then other transitions are not working anymore. It's frustrating. And well, when I have a look at his mix, I can understand that it's frustrating. For your understanding, these white markers are user beat markers and you can use them to correct the position of a beat. But sometimes we're not spot on with the beat grid. Then you can change this by grabbing a beat marker. The first beat marker you grab will change the whole beat grid. So all beats are shifted by the move you make with this first beat marker. Another important thing is that you always start from left to right. So you start with the first track, you make sure the beat grid is good, then the second track and then the third track. If you would start with the third track and you make changes to the end of the second track, then you go to the beginning of the second track and you see that you need to make changes over there. Those can have an impact on the changes you made to the end of the track. So a good way to change the beat grid is always from left to right. Let me have a look at this mix. What I'm now going to do, I'll start with removing all the user beat markers. I select this track and I'll put the track on fixed and you will see that the user beat markers are gone. I'll do the same with track 2. If you look at 3 over here, let me select it. You see there were a lot of trials with user beat markers and more markers and more markers. I understand it's frustrating. And eventually he finished it with a loop. Let me select this track and set the beat grid to fixed as well. And this one to fixed and the Depeche Mode track also to fixed. So now I have a few tracks fixed. Select the track and zoom in until you see the beats. Well, you see these beat markers are correctly. What you can do now on this zoom level is press the cursor key to the right. And when you press it, you see you will scroll fast through the track. Over here you see the window that you're looking at. And you see all beats here are correct. So it was not necessary to put user beat markers in this track. Well, when I keep it pressed, you see the new track is coming in. And the new track over here is a little bit shifted. This is the first beat marker. You can use the first beat marker to set the correct position for the beat. So let me place this one over here. This is one user edit that I have made. And that's okay, but you see now that the second beat of this track is a little bit shifted. So what I can do is move the first beat marker a little bit over here. And you see the beat markers are all coming along with your mouse. So this is the good position. They will sound well in the transition. See, they're aligned perfectly, so all those user markers were not necessary. Click the next transition and go to the next transition. Zoom in and you see the beat markers of the outgoing track. They are still on the right position. Cursoring to the right, there's the new track coming in and you see the new track, hey, we made a mistake, it is off. So grab the first beat marker, place it on the right position and you see the second beat as well over here. Release it and I think that's already enough for these two tracks. Yes, they are aligned perfectly. And that's all. So by removing all user beat markers and only setting the first beat marker, I fixed this issue. Let's go to the next track, Drake and Rihanna. And let's see what's going on over here. Well, an interesting thing is that in the top track, that I aligned correctly, there is a little shift. Well, if there is a shift, it should come from somewhere. So I'll cursor back and let's find out where the shift is coming from. So over here it is okay, the beats are okay. Cursor, cursor, and here is something going on. Wait a minute, here, have a look over here. You see what's going on? This is a badly, maybe ripped track, but there is a space in this track. There is an array of zeros in this track. There is a period in time that's in the original track. This is moved. And well, you see here starts the new beat, but this is an array of zeros. And this is gonna bring you in trouble. We need to isolate this issue and try to fix the grid. So let's grab this beat marker and place it on the correct position. First time, you now already see that the 122 tempo of the original track is now 121.97. So what's happening when I grab a second beat marker near this beat marker? Well, what's actually happening when I bring the beats closer to each other, the tempo will go up. So you see all beat markers are moving. So if you take two beat markers too close to each other, you need to be really precise, because if I'll release it over here, you now see I changed the tempo to 125 BPM. And if I grab it and bring it even closer, the tempo is 133 BPM, and nothing in this track now is aligned the correct way. So Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. So now let's see how we can overcome this issue for a fixed beat grid. If you zoom out a little bit and go back at 110 over here, if I grab this beat and I'll move it just a little bit, it becomes a barrier for the recalculation of the beats. So now let's go over this position, this is bad, and see if we can shift this beat over here to the right position. And now we have recalculated the beats between these two markers, and the tempo is changed in the wrong direction. So now move over a few beats and let's see if we can bring this beat marker back. And we've these two placed pretty close to each other. And let's zoom into the beat grid. You see it is still drifting. So now you see the problem that I have, that I keep on moving and adding more user beat markers. But somehow I managed with the last user beat marker to fix this issue. So you need a few user beat markers to fix an error in the audio. But then this is fine, and the rest of the audio, zooming in, looks okay, and we are on the beat, almost on the beat. Here we go. Let's have a look at this track, the beginning. Oh, that's zoomed in too much. Zoomed in, pressing the cursor to the right, and just see if the beats are okay. Well, they're all okay over here. Zooming out, we can scroll a bit faster through the track. Over here, zoom in, and you see the beats are still okay. So there is no corruption in this track. New track is coming in, and the new track is drifting a little bit. Okay, a little bit is not an issue. One correction is fine. Now zoom out, go to the end of the track, and here at the new transition, zoom in. Oh my god, I think this is the second track with an issue, because this shift is too big. Let's scroll back and see where this starts. So yeah, this is the break, so it's difficult to see. Hey, over here it is still good. So where the break starts, the music is fine. Let's zoom in a bit more and see if we can find... No. Here we have again a bad ripped track, and unfortunately it happens, but here's a bad rip again. So that's around 93. Go to 81 over here. Grab the user marker. The tempo of the track is 118. Now go over here where the track needs to start on this position, and you see there is now a change in tempo. And let's scroll to the right, and you see the beats are drifting a little bit, so making this correction over here. Going to the transition, and you see we are fine now in the transition. So by setting these 3 user markers, I was able to fix the problem that there is simply audio missing in there. So now you saw that a fixed beat grid is always a fixed beat grid, and if it's not fixed, then there is an issue with the audio. So zoom in to the issue, try to isolate it by setting a few user markers around it, but please stay away with setting so much user markers in a transition, because all these user markers in here, if I simply switch it to fixed, you will see that it is good enough, and that with only making one change to one marker, the tracks are perfectly aligned. So all the other user markers you saw over there were results of setting bad user markers in the previous track. And those user markers were a result of the bad user markers from the previous track. So setting user markers can be ideal for repairing audio, but it can also be dangerous and frustrating for making your mix. So I hope you learned a bit more about the beat gridding in DJ Studio and user beat markers. Thank you.